So here we are. I am Tony the Geeky Agent from Remax here in Binbrook, Ontario, in a very, very cold Binbrook, Ontario. Today is probably the warmest day that we've had in a while, and it is at the moment, I believe, about 10 below zero, with about 20, 21 below zero is when you count the wind chill factor and all that sort of stuff. So it has been very cold. I don't remember a winter this cold ever since the January that my son, who's turning 15 this month, was born. So at least not as this cold for this long, that sort of thing. So hopefully that little bit of little suavemente warmed you up a little bit there. We are going to just go over the numbers for Binbrook for 2017, a very high-level overview of the numbers. If you want to know anything in particular about your type of home, what the projections are for the next few months in Binbrook, please feel free to contact me. You can contact me here on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, you can message me there as well. And they'll have some contact information coming up towards the end of the video as well. But let's get into it now. We've got a whole bunch of people tuning in, so I think there's a bunch of people either off work or taking a break, having a coffee right about now, which is great. So we'll have a quick look around. Right now, if you are interested, we do have our 2018 housing market outlook available from Remax. This comes from Remax Canada, so it is a Canadian-specific publication. It does cover housing outlook for province by province across Canada, and it also drills down here in Ontario, especially to city by city. So Hamilton, Burlington is covered, Ottawa, up in the Muskoka area, a whole bunch of places up there. Obviously the GTA and Oshawa and all that sort of stuff. Kingston is included. So it just gives you a general overview of where we think the market is going. So have a quick look at some of the numbers there. Pretty much my broker of record, Conrad Zerini, is the one providing the majority of the input for the Hamilton-Burlington input. I believe he's the only person, really, but I think for sure the majority, since we are, at the moment, the only Remax office here situated in Hamilton primarily, although there's one or two other ones in Burlington as well. So this is the general numbers, what's been happening here in Hamilton since 2014, as you can see to the right of your screen there. We started off with the average price in 2014 at $388,000, and we've grown significantly since then. The 2017,000 estimate, because this publication did come out a few weeks before the end of the year, so it didn't have the full numbers for the year. So the estimate for the end of the year on the average price was $573,000 and a half, roughly. That does include Burlington as well. So it includes Burlington, it includes Grimsby, which are not part of Hamilton actually, but they are included in our Hamilton-Burlington board numbers. If you look at Hamilton specifically, which includes the amalgamated city of Hamilton, which is Ancaster and Dundas and Flamborough, Glanbrook, Stony Creek as well, and the core city of Hamilton. The average number there is actually about 490 to 95,000. We're just waiting to get the final numbers on that there. But when you include Burlington, which is a much pricier market, it does bump the average way up. We do have Flamborough, which is an odd duck of sorts. There is Carlisle, Waterdown is part of Flamborough as well, which are pricey subdivision type areas. And then there's also a lot of estate properties in Flamborough, large rural properties with large farm properties, so the prices get up into the millions, and a lot of small, really old little towns in there where the prices are much, much lower. So Flamborough kind of skews our numbers as well. So again, if you're really interested in numbers, talk to your local realtor. Happy to help as well in the areas that I service, because real estate really is a very specific local, very neighborhood oriented or based type of profession. The numbers really fluctuate wildly when you're in the industrial sector downtown versus when you're just up on the edge of the escarpment and you're on the south end, or if you're in a new subdivision, or Ancaster versus like Binbrook and Mount Hope, that sort of thing. The numbers in an industrial section, the average price could be, depending on the neighborhood, around $250,000, where just a few blocks away south on the south side of Barton Street or Cannon Street, the prices could be in the 450s, and then once you're up into the new subdivisions on the Hamilton Mountain, like Summit Park, they could be in the 500, 600, 700,000s. So talk to your local realtor about your specific neighborhood, and if I am your local realtor, give me a shout. I'd love to chat with you all. So that's that number there. If we have a look at Let's get right into the Binbrook numbers here. So we'll have a look at townhouses. They're the easiest ones to kind of look at first. They're the smallest ones in the city. So this is the average month-by-month numbers. And what I'm actually going to look at is one kind of interesting little number is the original list price, so the original asking price that the house was offered for versus what it actually sold for. As most people who kind of follow the market know, you'll see an original list price. So the very first day the house is offered for sale, it could be offered at, say, $500,000. But if the price is really high and it's not selling, it'll actually get reduced. And just so you'll see reductions in pricing. It could go down to all the way to $450,000, and then the property will sell, say, for $448,000. And some of the marketing around that can be a little bit misleading, a little bit deceptive, or at least hard to understand, because some of the marketing will come out and say that the property sold for 98% of the asking price, which is true to a certain extent. It did sell for 98% of that final $450,000 list price, but it doesn't tell you that that property was actually offered initially at $500,000. So the difference between $500,000 and $448,000 is not 98%. That does not represent 98% of the actual asking price. So more interesting number for me to look at is what was the original asking price versus what it actually sold for. And if you have a look at the numbers in Binbrook here, you can see it fluctuates throughout the years. We're starting in January, going all the way through to the end of 2017. The numbers in blue are the original list price, so the columns in blue are the original asking price, and the columns in red are what it actually sold for. So what's interesting to see is that if you look from January right through until May, the final sell price actually exceeds the original asking price. So we had a really busy market back then, and majority of properties were selling above asking price. In Binbrook specifically, the numbers are low, so we're not looking at the overall sales numbers for Hamilton. We're just looking at Binbrook. Binbrook is a 5,000 home subdivision in the southeast corner of Hamilton, so the sales numbers are in the dozens, not in the hundreds or anything like that. So they can be affected very significantly by individual sales. So we kind of try to take that into account, and that's kind of why we look at the average. But as you can see, the average price far exceeds the asking price right up until May. Then once May is over and done with, you start to see the market completely flip around pretty much. And now the blue bars, the original asking price, is much higher than the actual final sell price. So what happened there was at the end of April, beginning of May, the government came out and announced a whole bunch of new housing rules. That negatively impacted the market. Then there was another announcement later on, back in September, about new mortgage rules, which hasn't had as much of an impact. But that April announcement, while the rules themselves didn't really contain a lot in them that was really going to affect the market, the media spin and hype around it really did scare away a lot of buyers. So they decided to sit on their homes. At the same time, a lot of people that had homes saw the market taking off early in the year and decided, hey, now would be a great time to sell. So they flooded the market with inventory because it took them a while to get their homes ready. So you had two different things happening. You had the buyers being scared and kind of staying home, and then the sellers all deciding to sell their houses at the same time. So you had a great increase in supply and a diminishment of demand, and therefore you had the market kind of flip completely around from going from a hot seller's market to about a fairly weak to sometimes strong buyer's market. And as you can see, the numbers going through June, July, August, it peaked back in May and this is for freehold townhomes here in Binbrook, at about 472,000 and a half, just under 473,000. And now in December, we're averaging about 417,000. There was another little bump in September, which we normally see throughout the year. Once kids go back into school, parents are out looking for homes again, and you see another little bump in September, October usually. So there was a little bit of a bump at 440, and we're now back down to about 417 for an average price in December. Pretty much what we're looking at is once the new year starts again, this entire cycle kind of takes over again. So we'll see the prices climb again. It's not going to stay at 417,000. Now is a great time to buy if you're a first-time buyer, because this is as low as the prices get as far as the time of year. For the rest of the year, the prices will be increasing, and the average price come December 2018 will be slightly higher than they are this year. We're predicting overall for the Hamilton market about a 4% increase in prices. So if we get that 4 or 5% increase in prices on a $420,000 home, that's roughly $20,000 to $22,000 increase in price. So that $420,000 townhome will now cost $440,000 up to $450,000 on average. So there'll be some a little bit below that and quite a few above that. So that's what's happening with the townhouse, the freehold townhouse market here in Binbrook. We're going to just jump over to the condo townhouses. And as you can see, sort of the same pattern emerges. January through till April, May, the prices are increasing. So the red bars there are the actual sell prices, and they do exceed, for the most part, the original asking prices. And then once May comes around, it actually, in the condo market here in Binbrook, flips around so that the final sell price is lower than the original asking price. But you still see that wave, that peak happening in April, May, with a decline through the summer, and then another slight peak towards the end of the summer and into September, October, and then a leveling down again back into December. So it peaked back in April, so a month earlier than the freehold townhouse market, at $508,000. Condo townhouses in Binbrook, generally speaking, are the adult lifestyle or retirement homes. There's a bunch of those by John Bruce Robinson just off of Fall Fair Way. There's another huge group of them over on Southbrook Drive. These are full condominium townhouses. Townhouse fees monthly are usually between $250 to $350 per month. In the adult lifestyle ones, that includes things like snow clearing right out of your driveway and your front porch, maintaining your lawns, all the exterior maintenance, etc. So it peaked back in April at about $508,000, and now we're down to $390,000 here in November. December numbers I don't have yet, but we've gone down to about $390,000 on average. You don't see a lot of condominium townhome sales in Binbrook. For the most part, they are considered freehold, but they do have a condo road fee with them. So the condo road fee is typically $60 to $100 per month, depending on which area of Binbrook you're in, and that really only includes garbage pickup and snow removal from the main roadways in your little townhouse complex. And it is a minimal fee. The townhomes themselves are freehold, so you own the land, you own the exterior, you're responsible for things like maintaining the roof, the windows, the garage door, where in a full condominium, that's covered by your condominium fee and the property management condominium corporation. So that's the difference there. And as we continue on, that's the condo townhouses. We're going to have a look at two-story detached homes. So here in Binbrook, again, you sort of see that same sort of wave. So the red bars, again, are the final sale prices. We started the year, the average sale price for a detached two-story home here in Binbrook. This is does not take into consideration how many bedrooms or bathrooms, that kind of thing. It's just a detached two-story home. The average price back in February was $610,000. I don't have the January numbers because, funny enough, somebody made a goof and listed a property mistakenly. I believe it was supposed to be around $400,000 or so, and it mistakenly got listed for just $1.4 million instead, which skewed all the numbers. So we're just correcting that, and I'll have those numbers later. But basically, the January numbers were slightly lower than February. We actually had a little bit of a peak in February. But overall, for the year, the detached two-story homes actually peaked in July. The peak price there was $637,000, or just under $638,000. But as you can see, again, around May, you stop seeing the actual final sell prices exceeding the asking prices. And what actually happened here in Binbrook is that people got really greedy. So the asking prices kept on climbing, even though the actual sale prices were dipping. So as you have a look in June, the average sale price dropped significantly after that government announcement. It recovered in July and through August, but the asking prices still stayed extremely high right through until October, and then people sort of kind of clued in a little bit. So the asking prices did decline in November and December, and when the prices were more reasonable, people were more willing to come out, and you've seen a recovery in the actual sale price to $623,000 for a detached two-story home in Binbrook here on average. Now, by that by no means is the norm. If we break it down a little bit further into different size bedrooms. So in this particular chart, it's a little bit messy, I get it. But if you have a look, we've got three colors. The blue bars are the 3-bedroom detached homes. The orange bar in the center is the 4-bedroom, and the gray bar on the right are the 5-bedroom detached homes, and they follow roughly the same pattern. The 5-bedroom units are more rare, so that's 5 bedrooms or more. So it could be a 5 or 6-bedroom total home. So it could be a 4-bedroom home with an extra bedroom in the basement, or it could have been built as a 5-bedroom home. Once you're getting into 5 bedrooms, even if you're at 3,000 square feet, it makes the bedrooms really small. So the sales patterns there are very specific to a specific type of buyer. They're not really affected seasonally. They're kind of maintain their sales throughout the year because it's a very specific person that has a need for that many bedrooms in a house that's able to fit on a standard builder size lot here in Binbrook. But if you have a look at the 3 and 4 bedroom homes, they kind of follow the same sort of pattern. Now these are just sold prices, no original asking prices included here. But if you look at the blue bars, they kind of had a little bit of a peak in January, but they had a dip after that, followed by their peak. So 3-bedroom homes peaked in May at just over $600,000. The 4-bedroom homes actually peaked in February at $743,000. And then the 5-bedroom homes peaked in August at $789,000. So that's where you get that $650,000 or so average price for a detached home. And as you see towards the end of the year, the last few months of the year, we've had no 5 or more bedroom homes sold here in Binbrook. They've all been 3 and 4 bedrooms, ending here in December at $552,000 for the 3-bedroom homes and $652,000 for the 4-bedroom homes. So the market looks pretty healthy here in Binbrook. Prices have stayed pretty stable throughout, even with all the government announcements and that sort of thing. We are predicting similar growth here in Binbrook, as you're going to see throughout the rest of the city. That 4% average growth, I think, is a bit bearish, I think, a bit conservative coming from the Remax Canada report. I think we're going to see a bit more of that. I still see a lot of demand happening. Being right here in Binbrook and living here, I've been showing a lot of properties. I've been getting demands to see more properties more often. So things are already starting to get busy here in January, even though it's cold and snowy, which you wouldn't expect. If it was this cold and snowy in previous years, the market would pretty much be dead. But we're actually starting to see sales starting to pick up and more just general activity as far as buyers are concerned. So it looks pretty good for the summer. What I want to show you next is historical sales. So this is actually going back to 2012. I'm just going to flip that there. Yeah, 2012. So this just shows you all the sales. So this is townhouses, condominium, freehold, etc. Everything you want. Month by month sales, all the different years. So it looks kind of messy. The column charts represent all the different years on a month by month scale, January right through December from since 2012. But if we kind of remove the columns and just show you the average, you can see the pattern there emerging. So this is how the sales are happening in Binbrook if you average out the overall sales from 2012 in terms of pricing. So pricing fluctuates in Binbrook, starting at a low point in January, building right all the way through up until April and May, which is where that first peak there is. It kind of flatlines throughout the summer, but still remains high. You do see a little dip at the end of the summer, July through August, where people are on vacation. There's not as much competition for housing and that sort of thing. But then it kind of bottoms out in September, followed by another little peak in October. Again, once kids are back in school, parents are out looking for homes again. A little bit more competition, a little bit more happening, and you see another peak in October before people kind of hibernate for Christmas. And if you have one little further look, I mentioned previously that we have our own appointment center here at Remax in Hamilton. We do a large portion of the sales. I believe our market share is around 40% or just under 40%. I believe, depending on the month, we're involved in anywhere from 50 to 60% of the overall transactions happening in the city. So it's a pretty good indicator, as far as what's happening in our brokerage, is a pretty good indicator as to what's happening in the city. So if you have a look at our appointment center, these numbers here on the bottom chart, they're not to scale, so don't have a look at anything there. This is just showing you the overall trends. So if you have a look at that number, this is the number of appointments being booked. And as you can see, right from January through to March, the number of appointments increases. And then the appointments being set are people out looking for houses and putting offers on homes. And that's followed in April by a peak in sales. So first the appointments happen, and that's followed by sales. which makes sense. Then all these appointments that were generated, they kind of taper off into April and May, but the sales continue. So these are a lot of houses that were purchased while people are looking at homes, and they're closing in the few coming months after that. Excuse me, the cold weather does get to me too. So right through the summer, the sales remain pretty decent all the way through, as we've seen. But as the appointments really start to taper off when you get into June, July, and August, people are on vacations. That's followed very quickly by a decline in sales come August and September, as we mentioned, right all the way down to September. There's a little peak in appointments, as you can see here in September. So people are out looking for homes in September, and that's followed by the peak in sales in October. So the appointments peak first, followed by the sales a month later. So we kind of keep a very close eye on what's happening in our appointment center, just so we can kind of pretty much predict where the market's going and what's going to be happening. When we're working with buyers and sellers, we kind of keep a very close eye on the appointment center, at least I do, just kind of see where the market is trending, so we can kind of know what strategy to use when we're trying to help sell your home. That's what I've got there. I'm just going to have a quick look here. We've got a whole bunch of people watching, a lot of realtors watching. Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them below. I don't see any there, so I'm going to presume that means I'm doing an absolutely amazing job of explaining everything, because you have no questions. But if you do happen to have questions in future, I'd be happy to answer them, of course. You can reach me at all the following. This has been a broadcast of RE/MAX Geek TV. At least this is my version of it. I am the Geeky Agent at RE/MAX, and this has been all the Binbrook numbers. We had a Hamilton update about a week ago. It's available now on YouTube. This video will also be available on Facebook and on YouTube, so if you go to find me on social media, you can find me at all these places. So you can find me on YouTube. You go to youtube.com/thegeekyagent. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, mostly. I do have Snapchat, Pinterest, and Tumblr. I don't use them as often, but I am available there. And if you message me there, I will actually answer you. Go figure. If you want to contact me directly, you can text or call me at 289-237-9896. I'm always available for a quick chat, or if you want me to meet for a longer chat and a coffee, I'm more than happy to do that, discuss what's happening in the market, discuss what may be the best strategy for your home, or look at investment properties. If you have some equity built up and you'd like to start generating some income with the equity that you've built in your home, buying rental properties is probably one of the best ways of doing it. Real estate has historically provided the largest return as compared to the stock market or the banking system or anything like that. Investing in real estate has always been your best bet for long-term investments especially. If you want to send me an email, please feel free to email me, Tony@thegeekyagent.com. If you'd like to visit my website and check me out, see what I'm all about, please feel free to visit thegeekyagent.com. I have properties for sale there. I have some information about myself, general information about the market and real estate in general in Hamilton. You can also go to HamiltonLifestyleSearch.com if you're looking for a home in Hamilton. Can look by or search by all the regular means, by number of bedrooms, bathrooms, prices, etc. But you can also search by with criteria such as commute time. If you only want to live a certain amount of time away from where you work, you can set that up. If you're looking for a specific school district, you can search by that as well. So that's a couple extra features that a lot of other websites just don't have, because, they're not quite as awesome as I am. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. I love y'all. Thank you for your support. If you do have any questions, like I said, I don't see any popping up here, so I'm going to presume you don't have any for now. I am always available and happy to answer them. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Please stay warm. There's apparently a polar cyclone about to hit Boston, and it's going to kill us all or something like that. It must be a slow news day or something. They're talking about the weather all the time. So keep warm, stay safe. I love y'all. Until next time, have a great rest of the week. And as always, I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.